go fisticuffs in top lane 1v1s on the Rumble. Want to see if that comes alive, but more so see if those equalizers are going to be on point. It has been a bit of a question when we have seen the Rumble. The Corki, though, has been a classic, especially with the combo of the Ezreal, the double poke comp. Really, really nice.
We need the Vel'Koz mains to teach the Rumble mains a bit of trigonometry.
Yes.
Because, yeah, some of those angles, some of those set squares, they ain't in the right position, folks. We'll see whether that comes to fruition here. It's the K'Sante locked into that topside matchup. Of course, YSKM and Burdol, both big players of this. YSKM has been... typically been the duelist player for those that know him more often, but he has more and more found himself into that tank role, but the K'Sante does allow him to have some really good teamfight impact, and with some of the nerfs to Rumble, it is a more survivable lane for K'Sante. Doesn't mean it's always survivable, but it is more survivable. So I don't mind that for the top lane matchup. Now, going through into the second round, the big question for both these teams is, look, folks, you got a lot of damage. How are you pitting people in places that damage can land? So the Rel gets taken away from Vampire, his most played and his most successful champion. Big engaged champions being taken apart kind of everywhere right now. One of the problems that IG might face is that they kind of need themselves some magic damage from somewhere, but they also need themselves some heavy engage. Not having that from both jungle and from support could be an issue. They might go towards something like the Sejuani for GLFS on 4 to take it away from Meteor, but then this is what the problem where you start losing so many engaged supports. You kind of need to get that out of jungle instead.
Yeah, you have to find something that's going to give you engaged, because we've seen so many times, and sometimes for the best teams in the league, it works not to have any kind of engage and just to fight people and somehow come out the victor. A lot of teams, it doesn't work. So we got to see some ways of kind of meshing everything together. And right now, that Sejuani is like first and foremost on the docket here. We'll see if the Maokai, things like that, do come to bear. But the Nautilus is going to join that. And my goodness, we are in the bottom of the pool here for the engaged supports.
Yeah. Rakan's the last big one I can think of, so that is likely to get locked in. It's lane dominant. It's one of Blitzcrank is many things, but he ain't doing that AoE CC in the way they want. I think Rakan on 4 actually makes a lot of sense here for Vampire if he wants to go towards it, because Ezreal Rakan's also a good duo on the other side. Vampire has played a game of the Maokai. The Maokai is also a flex pick. I am surprised they're passing up this Rakan. I think that's probably quite an easy lock-in for LGD. If they go towards Sejuani, Rakan now, that feels like a good duo to close things out. And it gives you just so much lockdown and also mobility from your jungle support. It means it's really hard for you to get locked into a lot of those hard CC as well.
I wonder if Renata at all comes into the conversation.
But
there it is! There it is! Oh no! I do love that IG might be playing with a little bit of that flexibility to finish out here. We'll see if it does end up coming true. Rakan was the last bastion for engaged supports, seemingly at least, that are relevant here in the patch, and it will be locked in for LGD.
So, what is going to be that last jungle pick for Meteor? We've called out that Sejuani can potentially be very powerful. Of course, you can really snap engage. What this means for LGD, right now, if they lock in something, even with just the Rakan, Brand's okay with this too. You have really good snap engage. Brand can go for that first pick. I wonder if I would have preferred that Sejuani, but the Brand, we've seen how much damage that can do in the LPL. We're just going to bounce things off of a diving Maokai or a K'Sante and just burn down.
Let's go!
The last pick is actually the Blitzcrank. Has been a decent answer into the Rakan in the past. You do have that Maokai, which is going to go into that jungle now, which will be most of your engagement. Now you have the X Factor. If you win the bot lane and you catch out a struggling 2v2, Shaoye and JinJiao, you can then start blotting out Fog of War across the map, and the Blitzcrank can be a pick champion. This is a lot of individual agency for Vampire. He's had a tough year, but he has started to build on that. He's got himself some MVPs recently too. So now eyes on Vampire to see if he can be the creature in the night, and that Blitzcrank in the Fog of War to make the difference.
I love it because, again, like you said, he's had a bit of a checkered split, especially even checkered year, I guess, as a whole. But he has turned it up a little bit here. Stage for the first time here at LPL Summer 2024. It's going to be LGD versus IG. Game 1 kicking off now at Shanghai. Let's go, my man. Wow. God, I feel like I'm there. Let's go.
Man, some of these teams have been around for a hell of a long time, and while, you know, their results don't always match the history of these organizations, IG, a previous Worlds winning organization, LGD, of course, former LPL champions and Worlds representatives as well. These teams, when they have these elimination important matches, whether they're at the top of the table or much further down, the fans still very much care. We have IG walking with a sweeper level 1, not looking for anything more than just that ward, though. JinJiao will be able to go over. And what this means is that Haichao is going to get some level 1 XP to make sure they can hit level 2 rather, off of the very first wave rather than the first melee minion of that level 2. Maybe that even helps the mid lane matchup from that kind of weakly defended ward there from IG.
He just got a doggy treat. What a good boy. I broke him already. We're good. We're starting off great. We're starting off great, people. Let's go.
One thing I did know, because that's the corgi skin. You know that corgi's butts float in water? They're actually buoyant. Anyway, that's your one fun fact for that of the day.
There's also a fun fact, 900th game for LGD in the LPL. Love to see that as well. But it's maybe something we'll have to revisit for the corgi fact if that does continue to be a focus here for Haichao. But as is, we'll be looking at the setup for the junglers, where they're going to be pathing. It will be mirrored side starts this time around, so very much looking for GLFS to path down towards this bot lane and try to get Vampire unlocked with On.
And you can see that, of course, once you hit those levels on the Misfortune Blitzcrank, it gets really, really dangerous to play. Even as the Ezreal or the Rakan, you need to be very careful with how you're positioning to not give free skill shots, and then, of course, not to have any of that kind of like snowball potential coming through. Not really happy with this Bush controlling Knight down already.
Goodness. Getting wrecked already. JinJiao gonna have a lot of healing, though, at least on the back end of it. And Shaoye able to get a decent poke on as well in the 2v2.
Yep. There's actually quite an important window of time here where JinJiao really wants to get a second Rakan Q hit before the Blitzcrank Q comes off the cooldown, because it's really long for that first rank. If you can get that, this is one of the reasons why Rakan is so strong in lane. If you consistently hit Qs, your healing is really, really big. Hook should be coming up about now, though, so you need to be quite careful.
Gotta be real careful there, as Vampire in a lot of trouble now. JinJiao is gonna make it out, though, as bit worse for wear, though, on 200 health. It's going to be fine. They're going to get the back off, so will the bot lane of IG. So there won't really be anything in the culmination of GLFS's pathing here in bot.
No, no culmination there, and also Shaoye and JinJiao, credit to them. They deal with the first Blitzcrank hooks of the game. They don't use any summoners. Arn uses the flash, Vampire uses the ignite, and despite us kind of looking towards that bot lane as a point of strength for IG, especially Arn, it hasn't really come about that. Now Meteor maybe can make an influence on the top side.
A little campfire on top side maybe coming up here. YSKM going to be burning. Does flash out, though. Not going to get stunned just yet, but the burn might be enough. The harpoon not going to hit, but the flame spitter, you don't need much aim with that one. Burdol gets first blood for LGD. GLFS, he's in a lot of trouble. He is surrounded by LGD Sharks, and he will move his way out towards top as TP does come out from YSKM.
I was wondering whether LGD might have thrown that topside play by getting Burdol that kill, but giving him tower aggro, but not to be the case. So LGD, they get themselves first kill into a matchup which can still very much snowball. Rumble has been nerfed. Rumble is still Rumble. If you're good enough for this champion, you can get ahead of this matchup and make things very, very unplayable for the Cassante. Now we have the tier 2 boots built up early for Burdol. Means you can keep the Flame Spitter much more on target and in range of the enemy champion. You can't disengage nearly as easily. You need to see if Burdol can make use of that early advantage. And IG, what are they going to do with this early game now? They didn't get themselves that early lane dominance in the way that they would have wanted to. First back is now fine. It's at parity between both AD carries, but you would have really liked those first hooks of the game to already cause issues for LGD. Haven't really. You need to stop getting some pressure for this bot lane, get some Fog of War, and allow Vampire to be that roaming Blitzcrank, and the way that Vampire, all Blitzcranks really wants to be, and of course it's topical to be, you know, the creature coming out of the dark for the Vampire in this particular situation, but that's what IG want.
And there you go, you're going to get it. Does end up stopping the grand entrance, but not going to have too much damage to follow up, but he was looking to start getting out of the roam. We also got to start thinking about the objective focus here, because Dragon is already up. There is going to be the grubs in about 45 seconds. Something else I wanted to think about is we have seen traditionally recently for the Rumble and topside, once you get a little bit of an advantage up there, especially a little bit of gold given, it makes it that much easier for your composition to play out this early game. And LGD are going to be loving that early advantage for Burdol.
Yeah, I think that's been the case with a couple of our lane bullies in topside for this meta. I think it really applies to Cannon, but yeah, look what Rumble can do with a slight advantage. One gang, YSKM's missing XP. Now there is a play on bot side. Ignite dropped again.
Vampire is hovering around trying to get it. Does end up getting Shaoye. GLFS does connect. Bram smash back. Shaoye getting low, and he will go down to On. So IG get gold right where they needed to.
Poor wave positioning for LGD. They didn't have their jungle on the same side of the map, and Vampire ends up comboing up with GLFS for an important kill. We have criticized Shaoye and JinJiao for some of their laning and their weakness in some of these key moments, and Nymeara end up pouncing. It took a little bit longer than potentially we would have expected, but it's still a kill, and it's a kill over to Arn as well, so that Misfortune is going to get a lot of that gold. The Dragon goes over, while the top side is kind of focused on by LGD. I know you have the wave advantage here. You think that maybe that would have worked. Vampire actually, I believe, gets the knockup onto the cannon, so not great mechanical plays there. Relies on GLFS to bail out the play, so yeah, I think that goes to show how poorly positioned Shaoye and JinJiao were, that you can miss the flash blitzcrank knockup and still get away with that.
Yeah, unfortunately, Shaoye paying the price for the poor positioning in bot lane. But that's not where LGD is strongest. They're strongest together between Burdol, Meteor, and Haichao. That's what we've known so far from their split. And they'll be leaning towards that now. JinJiao also getting out onto the map here.
This is great for what we know of these teams. This should lead to hopefully a very fun game where we have Burdol with an advantage on top side, and moreover, the top side having advantage for LGD, as you've been saying. But then IG having Arn ahead of the game has that first kill for his team as well. So it's top side versus bot side in terms of the resources and the leads. Right now, of course, the objectives mirror that too. We've got the Grubs over towards LGD, and then the Dragon over towards Invictus Gaming. I really want to see this be really scrappy after this point. Arn getting towards his level 6 right now, potentially being set up for by his team with a good enough Mazel. I want to see this be really, really bloody, and I want to see both these teams with their individual advantages start to throw their weight at the other team.
That's what I'm wondering, if we do get an uptick of aggression at level 6 here with these comps, because you have a lot more go buttons, obviously, you have a lot more damage to follow up, but these are also compositions that are really willing to go to 2 items, 3 items, and find those big power spikes before they are willing to fight.
True, yeah. I think that particularly when you've got, you know, a jungle like the brand, you're very happy to go to 2-3 items. Of course, the Rumble as well, very powerful too. But you know, we've seen Misfortunes do despicable things late game. So yeah, I think I'd probably give scaling advantage over to LGD if you had to ask me at a push, just because of the weirdness of champions like Maokai and Cassante into the likes of the brand, and also the Misfortune not necessarily going to have the easiest time. The Blitzcrank's not super far ahead as well, but it should still be plenty of tools for both teams to fight about. And one of the things which I'll note about LGD too, if you go back to watch their last series about NIP, the way they won wasn't through the big team fights. It was actually through split plays where they could get Haichao and Meteor and Burdol, and getting these split plays across the place.
And now we're going to see a play on mid lane. Neny gets a ton of damage on the back end, but does end up making it away. Still does have his flash available, but no TP, so no real bailout now. And Vampire, he's looking. He is going to connect on Shaoye, but that buffer was clean.
That was really, really slick. There is a really bad timing window where the hook connects but doesn't stop pulling you yet. Your E goes through and then you get pulled back anyway, so you can mess around with that buffer a little bit. It can be. If you time it just wrong enough, which has happened from time to time, and sometimes that happens when you're under more and more pressure, you can get the worst of both worlds when you use the E and you still get caught. Neny really getting punished under this mid lane as well. Haichao being doing well in this early laning phase. This is partly the Tristana nerfs coming through, where you can't take as confident all-ins versus the Corki anymore, because it's 15% attack speed down per every rank of Q, which is nasty attack. It means that already Corki had a decent ability to outtrade Tristana. We've seen solo kills go both ways. Now suddenly with, yes, 30 base HP down on Corki, but some really big stats down on some abilities of Tristana, and then of course the Q also casting mana as well. Getting ahead in this Corki matchup, when it was already not bad for Corki, I think now on the current patch is really going to be a point of power now for Haichao to see if whether you can snowball that even more.
Yeah, he absolutely can. Use that priority very well. I do love this, though. We're going to bail out from IG. I don't know who they contacted, who they called, but they got some reinforcements coming. LGD looking to switch up their top side maybe here to match IG, as they've brought on and Vampire up here. Try to get a little bit more of this lane pressure around these grubs.
So, now we see whether IG can get themselves a pocket of vision. They're getting themselves good fog of war right now, where they can use this Blitzcrank. Blitzcrank is not a traditional engaged champion. A bonus for him, for Vampire, is that there's no Merc Treads on the other side for LGD. None of them are built up. Maybe JinJiao goes towards once we can be the one person that can maybe tank up a Maokai Ulse or something like that. But right now, IG not able to hang on to this fog of war. I thought they would have put those wards down and looked for a big hook, but they're not in position to do so. Now Brand gets to go towards these grubs.
There's going to be joining Burdol. There's a return TP. They got what they came for. They're already having the 4 grubs. Mites have been secured. They're getting flanked. True Shot Barrage coming across, though. Damage going down, though. Burdol coming here as the cleanup crew. Big bullet time, but LGD, they've got more numbers here. And YSKM finally counts a 1, 2, 3 and has to back away. He's in a lot of trouble, though. Burdol trying to chase him down. Does have the harpoon. Flame Spitter licking at YSKM at the back, but Burdol, he can't find the final one there. LGD end up coming away with body bags aplenty and all 6 grubs. Batten down your hatches, because it's grub again.
Yeah, we're going to get ourselves the Tyranid Hive fleet coming to play here on Summoner's Rift. We'll have a bit of a crossover episode. This is a weirdly set up fight from IG. I think if you're going to play around this, you need to play around your initial wards and don't let LGD claim that vision control back. Look at this Fog of War. They already have those important things. And because when it comes to these group up fights, the Blitzcrank doesn't give the same value as that Rakan. The Rakan gets a 3-man combo. Yes, they die, but they also tank the Blitzcrank hook, so no one else is tanking that, and they get themselves huge CC for the equalizer too. IG, this is just not the way you should approach that fight. They went a little too late and they're punished for it.
And now you have lasting damage done because the siege is going to be difficult to deal with. IG looking for a pick, though. Get JinJiao. There's too much CC, and they're going to take him out. It's GLFS who gets him and the Dragon. So 2 stacked up for IG already.
If you want a textbook definition or examples of how to use the Blitzcrank versus how not to use the Blitzcrank, yeah, the first fight at Grubs is how you don't use the Blitzcrank. You just play straight down the front and you just have a better support and engaging do more value than you. And then the way you play it is by using your Fog of War and look for those split picks. Does a really good job to catch out JinJiao there. Sadly, it is just the 1 kill and it's not going to lead to a huge game-changing moment. They'd already had that Dragon, so all it is a little bit more golden pocket, and you'll take that for sure, but it's sadly not what they would have wanted. If they could have had that around the Grubs, where they could have played just a little earlier, you could have had it all, IG. You could have avoided Grubageddon, you could have had your cake, and potentially eaten it too. But LGD, as it stands now, yes, they will be up against that Dragon point, but I still think they're pretty happy with the overall strategic split of the objectives.
We are getting the first item spikes here, and big importance is that Burdol is up almost 2,000 gold on YSKM now in the lane itself. He's had a huge CS differential, and now will be trying to scoop up as much of that remaining gold in that lane as possible. And having him strong, having him on Leandri's already going to be something to think about when we get to these latter 5-on-5s, as we know both these teams are trying to look for. So that's where I want to look at options for IG. They are going to have Blade of the Rune King, Bloodthirster now for their double carry comp. They are going to have the Leandri's complete for GLFS as well, so they'll have some of those tools available themselves.
Yeah, so they have a lot of damage now in the members, which have those strong 1-item spikes. They do need to make sure this game is set up well for Vampire, though. And I will say at IG, I think that they have evolved as a team in terms of their ability to... Okay, not going to force the flash there. I was wondering whether Vampire would be punished that.
He's got jets.
IG needs to make sure... he does, and they're just
oh, they're on cooldown. Hey, chill. Come on.
I think IG really need to set up the Fog of War in the Vision game to allow this Blitzcrank to get good value. If they don't, this is going to be a really hard game. You don't have that Rel snap engage, which Vampire has fallen back on so much. They've done decent job so far of getting some split picks, but I think LGD, with so much power on this Rumble, if you don't hit the Rumble before he starts getting a lane lock in, it's going to be a huge problem. Now we go towards this Herald, we're going towards what looks to be another 5v5 again. IG will struggle in the 5v5s because they don't have that Rakan. They have that first pick, but it's not going to be the same value as JinJiao, bringing that big multi-man knock-up and charm combo.
That turret play count is not what you want to see. GLFS kicking things off here, though. JinJiao trying to make his way out. Does get a big charm bullet time coming over top. He will end up falling again to GLFS. Vampire getting hit pretty hard there, but they gave up the Rift Herald for that. So some standing gold going to be on the map for LGD.
So this isn't, again, great for IG. You don't have an objective elsewhere on the map. You did get chunked out as well. Because they use so many ultimates on that pick, they can't really contest anything else. So what this means is that LGD, they can walk across the map, they can get into their lanes now without being afraid of big Maokai ultimate. The big combo which IG are playing around is the Maokai into the Blitzcrank hook. We talked about setting up for the Blitzcrank around the split picks. Of course, the Maokai is a huge part of that, which kind of has gone unsaid up to this point. Problem is now, if you're using your big playmaking tools to get a single kill instead of the Grubs, instead of the Herald, you're losing turrets like this. There's still a Herald to be used. It wouldn't surprise me if LGD set up for a really big mid lane play at some point soon now, because they have the Herald and they do have those Grubs, and of course they're well on the way now towards their 2-item spikes, where they have the double tiers being stacked up from Haichao and Shaoye. That's going to be a huge problem for IG, so they need to make sure that they don't allow the map to fall out of proportion too quickly. If you lose your outer a ring of towers without fighting them too much, it's so much harder to set up that vision control, which we've been saying is very, very important for this team.
Yeah, I mean, you've already lost first turret bounty there to LGD as well. Also, poor YSKM, he literally just completed Koenig Rooker and walks out there to Haichao, gets half his health taken off of him. He's like, bro, come on, where's Burdol at? Show me where's Burdol, man. But it is all about this.
Wait,
thing
this is magic damage? He's on the old, obviously on the old patch of Corky. Yeah.
But it is also seeing if LGD are going to want to push the tempo with this, because they do have their double Trinity Force, double Leandry spike here for LGD. They're twinsies today, but they have the Rift Herald here if they want to play towards mid with that, and it looks like that's going to be the case.
See the GLFS and Vampire around here. There could be a defensive Markyle, but I don't think they want this fight. YSKM could teleport in for a flank TP. In fact, there is a red ping. They might go towards this. How's going to get the charge? I don't think the tower's going to die. Are they going to try and defend this?
There's the grass. They might go in. Bullet time connecting. They're going to go for the re-engage with JinJiao. Nice one. Flame Spitter is burning them alive. As GLFS still burning, not going to go down just yet. YSKM was on a big flank with his TP, but he can't pull it off because they've already lost their bodies, so they will lose their stacking advantage of the Dragon as LGD take full control.
Yeah, this is just a better strategic play from LGD. They use that Herald at the right timing to get themselves, one, the big ultimates out of IG, but then two, the tower and a lot of the HP away from IG too, so they can't contest around this. This is another Maokai into Blitzcrank combat. This one's better because somehow Shaoye gets caught by the Maokai into the bullet time, so loses half his HP for free, and yet this fight still goes poorly for them. They still lose themselves the flash on Misfortune. LGD are very happy trading Rakan for all of the ultimates of IG. Later into the game, when there are more items, that's going to be harder because they'll kill JinJiao with a lot of damage to spare. But for now, they're happy to do this because they're also getting objectives at the end of this. This is a valuable 0 and 4 on the Rakan. He's actually dying for a good cause as it stands right now. You can't do that for too much longer because the damage will be really insane later on. But for now, it's fine.
And I think we're seeing that it's really difficult for On to just sit in place and pop a bullet time down if he doesn't have a big front line in front of him. Because you have so much reactive damage that you can put down for LGD as well. So you got to really watch this position. A guy that we've propped up to be the carry, the guy that if IG are going to win, he is going to be the guy you have to watch for. And now he's looking at his second item on this MF. And him and Neny have a large mountain decline here against LGD, who have slowly carved out about a 3.6k lead.
For those of you that missed us talking about some of the stats from Arn earlier as well, and this, we're not saying this without any backing, he is the highest damage percent. Hang on a second, we have to stop for that. Okay, Hook's missed, we should be fine for now, but JinJiao does have a... Oh, no, he doesn't quite have the health. I was wondering if he'd pull the trigger. Anyway, look, back to Arn. Arn, highest damage percentage player in the league, highest kills per game player in the league, also 4th highest DPM. This guy is an absolute monster when it comes to a team, which is a middling to bottom tier team. This team has been very much carried by the scruff of the neck by this AD carry, which is why we focus on him so much. But it's really hard for him to, again, set up, as you were saying, when he's on an immobile Misfortune, who has to be very, very respectful now of LGD moving through Fog of War. And the saddest thing now is that despite the fact that they did get themselves a platform to play off of with this Blitzcrank, now you're playing from your inner turrets. And as a Blitzcrank, much in the same way for those of you who are Zoe players who saw Zoe when she was in pro play, if you are playing with your towers being down first, it changes the entire game. You can't sit in the same Fog of War. You can't make the same aggressive plays. And you can't make the enemy team scared of you because they know where you are, or at all times. They're pushing it across the map. They get the wards down. You're playing with map hacks enabled against.
They're going to punish Burdol here. He does have the main quantity of gold, but the flash gets him to safety. They'll try to punish with the turret. They've already lost all 3 of their outer turrets before this, though. So it's going to be pity prizes for IG as Haichao is putting on his best construction hat for his doggo, and he's able to find so much gold on IG's side of the map.
Shaoye also using those 6 grubs as well. Make sure he can keep hitting those Qs onto minions, getting himself as many Ws onto the tower. Those essence fluxes very much helping the tower killing. 6 grubs, man. 6 grubs. This is what changes the whole game.
What a good boy!
6 grubs, the Triforce, and a very helpful Corgi, lest we forget. Haichao getting a whole load of gold, and now suddenly IG, they make this big power play towards topside, and they get, what, a flash in a tower? It's an outer tower, though. It's not the same as this huge chunk on inner tower. It's not the same as an inner tower going down. Baron is now spawned. Now this is where IG can maybe look to make a really big comeback, but the question is, how can they do that now when they are behind so many big combat sets? The 2-item spike for these 2 carries is now online across the board, and I do think that LGD do have a bit of an advantage there. The big telling question will be whether IG can get free picks with the Blitzcrank. If they have to use the Marco and the Blitzcrank hook, I think they probably lose because I think the follow-up from LGD is going to be too heavy, and they miss their first attempt there.
It's just so difficult because we literally laid it out plain and simple. This top trio is what gets LGD a lot of their advantages, and when you see that both solo laners have an over 1,000 gold lead, right, and Meteor even has his own advantages on the rallies now, and On doesn't have necessarily the big spike you'd want just yet, it's difficult to think about IG finding a way back into this one, but they rely on a lot of these team fight setups. They're going to rely on these this time ticking by for them. But LGD, we've seen they've been pretty proactive so far, which is really nice to see.
And it's been, what I appreciate about LGD is this heads-up decision-making to say, all right, JinJiao, you're tanking the ult, you're tanking the hook.
We're taking
see you
somebody.
On the other side. But at least, it's something which I referred to this year in LPL, because I feel like it describes it quite well in terms, and you know, I'm a huge fan of rugby union. It's the kind of the traditional sport which I grew up with. This is full contact League of Legends. You know that hook is hitting someone, so you go straight into it head first. You just say, okay, you hit me with the hook and the Mazel ultimate, we're going to all-in you at the same time. And you don't let the engage happen for free. You throw yourself at the enemy team while they're using their tools on a teammate who, realistically, can't get any more value out of that play.
Yeah.
If JinJiao is the one who's getting hit with the tackle first, you're making sure that the teammate's going to follow up really heavily beyond that point. I think LGD have been quite heads up about that to make sure that they're getting good value when the hook's landed.
Well, I was going to ask Ref Nymeara to set us up at the line of scrimmage here in front of the Dragon, but it looks like IG want to give that one up this summer. They're not here to play ball.
I'm not sure I'm quite as big on my American football. No, head contact, there's a flag dropped here.
You're doing
you
great.
have to move your 4D chest in this way, and we're going to go from this playbook. That's about what I
Esports
understand
pose.
from American football.
We're just going to throw everything in there. It's a smorgasbord. We're throwing more dragons the way of LGD, though. They'll stack up 2 ocean dragons in a row. That's going to make some of this damage a little bit harder to stick onto LGD, but they're really nicely putting a stop to IG's stacking here.
You see that LGD, they're playing well around using the mid lane push at the same time as the objectives are coming up. Neny now is pushing towards top side, but it's not as easy to push him when you don't have any grubs. You shouldn't be walking there, JinJiao, buddy. Come on!
Oh, yeah, you can't get out of that one too easily. Luckily, he does, trade almost all of his health bar for it. Doesn't burn any summoner spells. He's good. Reset gonna come out. Does need to be a little bit careful of that, because that's a little bit of a symptom of what can happen later for IG.
Okay, alright, Celestial opposition really helps. Not having to blow the heal as well is very important there, so JinJiao gets an Ignite for free. That could have been a bit of a problem though, because if you lose your Rakan, there's a lot of your setup gone for LGD. So while we said there's been a lot of value from LGD, kind of buying through the Blitzcrank, kind of initial pick opportunity from IG, you do need to get value on the other side of it. So the fact he gets away there spares the blushes a little bit. Now, LGD, they've got themselves their last couple of backs. Well, almost 3 items coming in from Haichao because he's taking so many inner turrets. LGD, they do need to be a little careful. They do have a lot of gold on Haichao, but On is still on, and he's still got a ton of gold. So LGD needs to be very careful when they buy into the fights.
Uh-oh. YSKM. He just really wants the turret. He's going to all-out Burdol and try to get away. He's taking so much damage, though, and it's going to be so slow. No! YSKM! He knows you well. Burdol takes him down for a solo.
Yeah, you should know me more like, who asked? Burdol just does not care about this guy in the top lane. Says, you're not going to take that turret. You have no grubs. I can kill you before it goes down. YSKM tries to open up the map a little bit, but Burdol with this huge lead guns him down. He has teleport as well.
Got him again.
JinJiao caught again.
They get him this time, maybe. All the summoner spells there. Grand entrance out and able to get GLFS there with the rocket as Haichao claims GLFS. They might even look for more pressure here. There's pings already onto the Baron. They're starting it up.
That's the problem. You have bullet time, but that's about it. Vampire has a hook, but he has to go through the Baron. This should be being burned down. Double Leandri's burning us through.
Oh, it's going down so low. They've tried to do something. Desperation pull, but it's not enough. Bullet time on the back, but it's not going to be the damage you're looking for. And now LGD, they're the ones looking for. Meteor went out, but now it's the big buster shot back. Neny can't hang. His red hair will be a signal of death for him as YSKM goes down too. And LGD are showing the significant difference here as they are just chasing IG down.
LGD have just been one step ahead across the map at all times. IG have been trying to open up the map and they've just been denied. The Baron goes over with 6 grubs. This is going to be the base. being broken open at bare minimum. They might even go towards more than that. They have 6 grubs. You have double AD carries. It's long death times. They could even go towards the Nexus turrets.
LGD are not messing around. You gave them a little bit, and they're going to take everything here. They are onto the turrets. They need to be a little bit careful. Have a bit of a siege. The first Nexus turret going down. LGD, they're looking to put the hurt on IG. They say win streak who coming out of Rumble stage? This is going to be our 8th seed as they take game number 1.
LGD only won a single series in the Ascension group, but they were still in the Ascension group, and sadly, IG left feeling a little bit grungy after that one from the Nirvana group. They are the lowest seed heading into Night's Rivals. We have set this up as a series where they have routes to victory, maybe being able to snowball through that bot side. That just was not the case. LGD masterfully dealt with that Blitzcrank and the way that IG were trying to play through that pick combo, and they got good value every time that first pick was attempted from IG. This was a good strategic game from LGD.
I can't believe how strong this top trio is looking already, and it's outweighing a little bit of the scales right now for IG. We'll see if they can balance those scales.